Hello, Miguel, you there?
Hey Terry, how you going?
Oh, good, Miguel. Before I continue, can everybody hear Miguel quite clearly? Awesome. All yes is coming through. That's great. Miguel, great photo, by the way.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, it was a beautiful day.
And it's always good to be on Wall Street, right?
Oh, absolutely, mate. I loved it. It's my second time there, so yeah.
Wow. Awesome. So, Miguel, I've just got a number of questions I want to ask you, of course, to get to know you as well and allow our members to know a little bit more about yourself. And Miguel is one of
Yep.
the few that are actually that has transited. This is why I'm so excited. It's transited from from running his own business to now actually trading and investing full time. So it shows, it's not just myself and some other people, but there are, even our members are able to transition full time as well. And that's what I hope for you. Not everybody wants to do it full time, but if you're looking at that path, I want to show you that, there is a path that can, if that's what you want, you can actually do that as well. So, so Miguel, welcome to Inner Circle, and great to have you live on our interview.
Thanks, Terry. No, it's awesome to be here.
Yeah, thanks. So firstly, want to know where are you from and what do you actually do for a living?
So I'm in Melbourne, Terry, and I've actually run an IT business for the last 9 years. So that my background is IT, so that's what I've been doing.
Right. And with the IT, are you still running the IT business, or are you now sort of that's sort of your past and now just nothing but trading and investing now?
Yeah, correct. So I've had the business for close to 9 years, but it was late 2016 that I decided that I wanted to sell the business and just focus on trading full time. So
Awesome.
as of December of that year till now, I've been trading full time. Yeah.
Yep. When you say of that year, which year was it again?
So December of 2016.
Okay.
Yeah. So since then, so I still had the business, but I made the decision that I was going to pull myself out of the business and just focus on the trading.
Yep. Okay. So it's been a year and sort of 3 months now that you've transitioned into full-time trading.
Correct. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And so, how long have you been with Freedom Trader Blueprint, and what's your experience been so far?
Well, originally, I think it was January of 2017 that I actually first saw you speak, Terry, and then I think I signed up a few months, or the next month, or 2 months after that. So I think it's been about 12 months that I've been in Blueprint.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Yep, okay.
it's much longer than what I thought.
Okay. So hopefully, I guess there's a reason why you're staying, right? So hopefully we've done our job. So what's been your experience so far with Blueprint?
Yeah, absolutely, Terry. Like I told you, so I'd already been investing and trading for several years prior to joining your group. But the main thing for me is that I was trading and I was having some good results, but I wasn't having consistent results. And I knew there was something missing, and I didn't know what that thing was actually. So when I saw you speak the first time, I realized that you could probably help me with what was the missing piece.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's been fantastic for me.
Yeah. So when you say the missing piece, what was it that, because I understand you've been doing many other programs in the past as well. So say compared to those ones and say to Blueprint, what was the piece that you were missing with those ones that did not provide that?
Yeah, so over the last 10 years, I've done about 4 other stock market trading courses. But the thing that I found was that most of these trainings, they give you a bit of knowledge, but it's almost like they give you just enough so you understand, but then you got to kind of be dependent on them to give you trade alerts and direction of the market. So that for me wasn't empowering because I couldn't make my own decisions. So the biggest thing for me before joining Blueprint was that I couldn't, even though I was trading and I was having good results, I actually couldn't sleep, Terry, because I sometimes had investments opened and I had no idea whether these investments were fundamentally strong. So I used to wake up during the night and just check the market and check my positions. And then, so I didn't have that confidence that I had invested in the right trades. So when I came to your Blueprint training and you did the fundamental analysis, that was the missing piece for me, because that was enough to for me to go out and analyze all the positions I had, and then I actually had confidence in what I was doing.
Yep. Okay. So it was almost like a, in a way, I could probably say, would you say like an aha moment, like a light bulb, right? That popped.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, yes. And I think I told you, like, I think it was once I signed up to your blueprint. It was week. I just watched one of the videos, and in one of the videos where you explained how to read the market, that in itself was enough to change the game for me, because literally
Mm.
from that moment on, I started to be more consistent. And
Yep.
then as I started to learn your fundamental process and everything else you teach, it just refined my system more and more. And the biggest thing for me, Terry, is I've been wanting to sell the business or get out of the IT business for a while, but I
Mm.
didn't have the confidence. Even though I was trading and I was still generating income, I didn't have the confidence that I was going to be able to generate income if I solely relied on the stock market.
Right.
And that's what I got from Blueprint.
Yeah. Awesome. So before, so I'll probably summarize. Before Blueprint, the frustrations you probably had was what, the inconsistencies and the lack of confidence of just holding your own and being able to find your own stuff. Is that right? And being sort of having to rely on the so-called platforms that these guys are trying to sell you. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just, you couldn't, I just didn't have that confidence. I had to kind of take their advice and kind of go by their sentiment.
Mm-hmm.
Like with the fundamentals of companies, I was given, you know how you've got the 11-point checklist. I was
Yep.
given a similar checklist, but as you know, that's not enough to really
Yep.
understand the company and its performance.
Mm.
So I just didn't have confidence in that. And sometimes when I learned how to analyze the companies, I actually realized I had invested in some positions that I shouldn't have invested in because they had bad numbers. So I
Right.
literally went and closed them all off, even if some were at a loss. I just got rid of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you basically was able to go in and just do a almost like a clean house, clean out your house.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and from that moment onwards, like I just started seeing really good results, and I just had that confidence that okay, now if I do sell the business, I know that I can generate an income from the markets. Do you know what I mean? So that was the missing piece for me, and it just like I said to you, I couldn't sleep prior to that. When you
Yeah.
stress out, when you're like, you just don't know. If you don't know that the company's solid, that's what allows fear to kick in, and then you make
Mm.
irrational decisions because your emotions are in play, and that's what I was doing, and it wasn't working.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I mean, for me, I always say, even when I'm on stage, I always say, there's no point in investing for anything, even whatever return you get, if you can't sleep well, it's just not worth the health risk.
Exactly right. Yeah, like that was the biggest thing for me. I found like I'm not sleeping because I'm up all night, and I thought this is not if this is what's trading the markets is going to be like, then do I really want to be?
Yeah. Yeah. True.
But now it's different, mate. I can sleep. Like I have no worries. Like I'll get up every morning. I'll have a look at the market, at the moment at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And I don't care what happens. Like I just look at the VIX, I look at all the indicators, and I'm just confident that I know what I'm holding is going to
Mm.
perform. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, we had lunch last week, and we didn't even at any point in time, both you and I did not even take out our laptop or phone to even look at the market. We just enjoyed a
Yeah,
great lunch, right?
that's true. It was a 3-hour lunch, so yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I remember, in the past where I'll have a friend, I'll have lunch with a friend, and he'd be checking on his mining positions, and he'll literally a 1 hour coffee, and he'll be constantly checking. Whereas, I'm looking at our, both you and I, and we don't even, besides talking about principles and life and travels, we don't even worry about what's the market's done. Who cares? It's just done. Whatever's there is there.
Exactly right. Exactly. Like on the day that we had that big fall, I
Mm.
had a lot of my friends call me and email me, and everybody wanted to know what I thought. And I was like, I didn't panic at all. I just did not care. I was like, whatever that for me, I was like, this is going to create some fantastic opportunities. So,
Mm. Mm.
that fall as soon as I saw the fall, I was like, great. Like I need to get ready to get in.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
zero
And
stress, mate.
yeah, exactly. And it's actually an opposite effect, because when you see falls, people fear. When we see falls, we actually get excited. So it's actually a
Yeah,
very calming, exciting opportunity versus the fear that we potentially used to have, and what most people have.
exactly right. Exactly.
Mm.
Yeah. and knowing the numbers to each company, gives you that extra confidence that that these four, even if you bought some and the company continued to fall the next few days, it shouldn't phase you. Like, it didn't scare me at all. It just actually, made me feel like, well, I should buy another position. So
yeah. And so now, I know you've got the blueprint process. What would you say is there? What process do you use to research new stocks besides blueprint? Is there anything else that you add on top?
Yeah, so with the new stocks, I mean, I look at the Wall Street Journal, and that's something that you taught us as well. So I'll go through the Wall Street Journal. I'll see if any articles are talking about a company in a negative sentiment, and then because every time there's negative news around the company, the price falls, and I just plug it into the Guru Focus. I have a look at the numbers, and if it makes a sound investment, then it goes on my radar.
Yeah.
Same thing with the FinViz map. So as soon as I see the big red boxes, I look at those companies and I'll dig deep into what they do and what sector they are and look at the numbers. And again, if it makes sense, they go onto my watch list.
Yeah.
Okay. So
that's
like I said to you that day, like that in itself is something that I never had from any of the other previous trainings that I've done. They never actually taught you to go out and find your own investments. You kind of have to rely on them and their monthly reporting. But yeah, with that process that you gave us, mate, it's brilliant. It works really well.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's because that's the funny thing. I understand that because that's their business model, because they want people to rely on them. Therefore, they get recurring income literally for life. And once you're off it, then you're on your own and you're in trouble. Yeah. Whereas I from day one that I wanted to start Blueprint, I wanted to teach our members how to fish. And of course, I want to also at the same time give them the fish, but the first and foremost, know how to fish. And if I'm no longer around, you can still fish without me. And of course, if you want extra help, I'm always here anyway. So therefore, best of both worlds.
Yeah, that's right, man. And look, I haven't I'll continue to stay with your Blueprint program, and I actually haven't looked at your watch list for a while because the reason I stayed is simply because I like being in that environment. I like seeing the webinars, and sometimes I'll do my own list, and then I might open yours to compare and see what we're looking at. And a lot of the times we're looking at the same company, so that's the extra comp. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And plus, that's the other thing too, where I love our community, because a lot of times where, of course I'm one person, and I always think that, a collective mind is always more powerful than no matter how much success / experience I've had, just sitting down, having a good chat with you. And I pick up candlesticks. Yeah, I've always known about that, but never applied it to VIX. And hence that sort of like aha moment for me. It's like, okay, let's have a look at it. Once we finished our lunch, I quickly had a look at it. It's like, wow, this is quite interesting, and why I put it on tonight's session as well, because you are right, because it did show over the next day or two that potentially I could have held back a little bit, and then getting it at a slightly better price on some stocks as well. So and that's where I said, okay, I'm actually on the reversal. I'm also learning from our members as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as soon as I saw that, I thought, wow, this could benefit the whole community. So, it's something that I've been doing for a while, and I think it's very powerful. Like, even if you look at the candle, if you look a few days prior on the 2nd of February, you'll notice that the candle broke above a previous price point that it couldn't break above. So on that day was a day that I actually pulled out of the market and I closed a lot of my positions and I reduced my exposure. So that candle there on the 2nd. Because if you look at the history, like you extend it back to 8 months or so, you'll notice that the VIX couldn't get past that 1460 mark or whatever it was.
Sure.
And on that day, as soon as it broke that, I thought, okay, the VIX is heading higher, and also the RSI STA were pointing up. So that's the day I reduced my exposure. So I didn't actually lose any money on that big fall. So yeah,
that's awesome. That's actually awesome. Yeah, that's another distinction as well, where besides sort of after the fact, you're seeing the break, so-called the breakout, where it's now past surpassed previous levels and broken out decisively as well. And then add the fact where RSI above 70 going upwards, STO also crossover to the upside as well. So it's a sign. It's literally a big sign that there's a fall coming. We just don't know how big.
Exactly. Like I had no idea it was going to be the next day, but I knew that it was definitely heading higher. So on that day, I at least wanted to reduce my exposure. I didn't close out completely. I just so that worked well for me. Really good.
Yeah, awesome. I'm trying to bring back. And what would your I guess now being a full-time trader, what would your typical day look like, and how much time and focus do you actually spend on your portfolios?
On a daily basis when the markets are open, so Tuesday to Saturday, the usual, I get up an hour before the market closes just to have a look at the market and see what positions we're taking on. But, as far as research new companies, it doesn't take very long. I probably spend maybe an hour a day just to see if there's any new opportunities that can come onto my radar. Generally on a Monday, because the markets aren't open till the Tuesday. So on the Monday, I might spend a few hours, maybe 2 or 3 hours doing some research. But it also depends on the market condition. If the markets aren't producing any opportunities, then there's nothing to do. So I've literally got a lot of spare time on my hands here. And
catch up for lunch.
I've been catching up for lunch with everyone, so it's been fantastic. It's a freedom lifestyle.
It is, and that's what we're doing for in the end, and that's why I call it the freedom trader, because that's ultimately, money's good, but ultimately that's what we're doing it for. We're doing it for that freedom that it gives us.
Absolutely, and that's why I got into business 9 years ago, for that freedom lifestyle. But as you know, running a business doesn't actually give you that. But this trading and investing absolutely gives me that. So that's why I decided, that's what I want to be doing full time, and I no longer wanted to run the business.
And then what tools do you use that are helping you manage your trading at the moment?
So look, obviously stock charts. I used to use a different software prior, but I like the fact that you can that it's in the cloud and you can actually set up the the lists in that 10-page view. So that helps. Value engine as well is something that I've used in conjunction with your calculator. I find a lot of the times the numbers are quite similar, so it just gives me that confirmation of fair value.
And by the way, I just want to repeat that, everyone. It's Value Engine with a value U and then engine, and that's another sort of app that you can join on a month, I believe, either annual or monthly basis. So I used to use that in the past as well, but I found I've got too many tools now, so I let go of that one. But that is something that is actually pretty good as well. So Value Engine, everyone. Anything else, Miguel?
So Value Engine and Guru Focus are the main ones that I mean, Guru Focus is definitely worth paying for a whole bunch of reasons, but they're probably the two main tools that I need, and obviously these as well.
Okay. And in terms of your positions, you're utilizing the simple spreadsheet, literally either Excel or Google Docs, is that right?
To monitor my position, and Excel.
To keep a record of it.
I've actually got an Excel document that I had a friend design it for me, where I can actually just download my data from my trading account and just dump it into the Excel sheet, and it works out automatically the percentage returns, gains and losses. So it's an Excel sheet. It works really well.
Nice. And what impact and outcome has Blueprint and InCircle provided towards, I guess, your financial future that you see?
For me, it's about confidence, Terry. Like I said to you before, I wanted to get out of the business and I wanted to sell the IT business, but I didn't have the confidence that I could actually generate an income from the market. Prior to doing Blueprint. But after like literally, after that first month that I finished the Blueprint, I had the confidence. I knew straight away that it was going to work based on everything I had already done. But so that just, even though we've had a bad month in February, and we might have not made any money in February, I know that the market is going to continue to push up and reward us for that way. You know what I mean? So I've just got that confidence that I know where my next paycheck's coming from. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's funny. Dee's actually asked. She knows, of course, you're doing well, and would you be willing to tell us, percentage success that you've reached, and basically the percentage returns. So Dee, I definitely have Miguel's. He was kind enough to share his recent up-to-date spreadsheet, because he's been with me for I believe, when I look back in time, it was April, May of last year. So he kept a record from, I think it was June, July, all the way to December of last year, and anything beyond that, a lot of the positions are still not sold. So rather than showing you unsold positions, rather showing you, the things that is being liquidated and crystallized. So let me just bring up Miguel's spreadsheet, and it will surprise you. This is his result, by the way. So his annual result for the financial year is 46%. So yes, it is 46%. So congratulations, Miguel. That is an awesome result. This is the 1st of July 2017 to January 2018. And by the way, a lot of this is CFDs. So Miguel, because he's done it for a number of years, he's utilizing than just pure stock. He's also added a little bit of leverage on the CFD side. But be very careful though. If you've never traded stocks on its own and become profitable, please do not go into CFDs. Miguel is very different because he's done many programs in the past and also done not only made a lot of mistakes along the past as well, which he'll probably tell you about later. He's learned from those mistakes and therefore, refined these systems and then added blueprint to make it even better. So therefore, if I look at the CFDs, which is contract for difference, they're just leverage products on stock, the physical stock. So let's say we scroll, let's scroll through some of his results. There's, I think, 10 pages of results right here. So Miguel is quite active. Amgen, if you just look at this is pure stock returns versus the actual, the CFD return. So Miguel, can I just check that? I understand you've got stop losses in place at, I think, 7-8%, because I'm looking at, I don't think anything's gone beyond double digit. Is that right?
Correct. The stop is between 5 and 8% on the trades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, no problems. So if I'm just looking at scrolling down, right, you'll see there are you might scare some people where you see, oh crap, he's done minus 103%, minus 95, minus 139. But if you look at the actual stock side, it's minus 5, minus 5, minus 7, and these are small positions. So Miguel, can I, what type of position size are you taking on these, by the way?
Yeah, so what I've done, Terry, is because I'm using the leverage as well, I'm actually only trading, you know how we do 1% when it's low market risk? Because of the leverage, I'm only doing 0.5% per trade.
Yeah, okay.
And like during the month, so during the month of December, for example, like I know there's a lot of positions there that were stopped out, but because of the positions that were actually profitable, I didn't close them until the January. So if you look at the January section, you'll see all the positions that were held right through.
Yeah. I did scroll through it, and that's why I'm trying to let people know that don't let this scare you, because it's very tiny position size. It's leveraged. Yes, it is leveraged up, because if you're looking at minus 10, minus 5, and it goes to 103, therefore it's roughly about 20 times leverage. Over here, it's probably 15 times leverage on the positive side. However, if I'm scrolling down, right, and these are small positions, and then you now go to January that Miguel talked about being profitable now, these ones don't really matter very much, because you go, oh, he's lost 139%, yes, on 0.5%. But then now he's doing now, once January hit, it's 6, 9, 17, 4, 6. And then when you're going to the leverage side, it's 113, 174, 330, 174, 124, 139, 234, 260. So this is only page 1. Now I scroll to page 2, and minus 5. But then again, now a ton. The eye can easily see where there's one loss here, one loss here, one loss here. So there's 3 losses on this literally this entire page, versus all the capital gains that he's made during January, and hence why, in percentage terms, it's sitting on 46% capital gain, with CFDs. And let me just scroll forward. And if you go scroll your eyes to, don't just look at the return. Scroll your eye to the the left-hand side. There's the flight centers, the Allergans, the Boston Scientific, GlaxoSmith, eBay, Blackstone, Micron, Facebook, Commonwealth Bank of Australia. So they are not small companies. Walt Disney, Merck. They are not what you call the mining / biotech / hope stocks. They are the ones that are profitable. Numbers stack up. That's why Miguel is in it, and with CFDs. I mean, this one's BlackBerry 592, and if I just keep on going more.
If you go to October,
so this is November, and then now you go to, there's 10 pages, and then I'm scrolling. I just never know where I am, because there's so many pages. Now there's October now. Yeah, so now October again comes by, and again, it's just self-explanatory, really, in terms of the returns. Really, it's crazy. What, 43% on Apple, 856 on two positions on Apple. No, 3 actually. Yeah, there's 1, 2, and 3. And then there's Herbalife. Well, congratulations on that. That's three positions as well. So if you look at that, that's what is driving returns as well. There's a lot of consistent returns, and then there's a couple of what they call outliers. and they just make up, you know, the massive, you know, one equals 3 or 4, literally 3 or 4 normal average. They're not even normal, but you know, we'll call them normal based on his returns. 3 or 4 equal to 3 or 4. So if he's doing literally 3 apples, 3 herbalites with that type of returns, add them together, you know, it's in the thousands now. So, and hence why the returns are ridiculously high. So in the end, it's sort of a combination of, you know, the fundamental, getting the good stocks, controlling risk as well, and making sure that you know, it's not taking silly risk, even though there's leverage, not taking silly risk, but also being a leverage instrument like CFDs. Miguel is also having the stop losses of between 5 and 8%. Therefore, I've never seen so far. I've not seen one which has more than, you know, as a pure stock side. I think it was 8 was the biggest that I have seen. So he's sticking with his risk management as well and position sizing. And that's what's, in the end, that is what is driving the returns, but also protecting him as well. Would that be right, Miguel?
Yeah, correct. Look, I did have one that was high, and that was because it gapped down on some news. But, you know, even because of the position size, it didn't even matter. Do you know what I mean? Half a percentage of the entire account on one trade. And also, Terry, the other thing is that identifying the difference between a trade and an investment also has given me a big advantage, because prior to, I had, you know, sometimes you might have a trade that's doing well. Yeah. Or if you don't know if it's a trade or investment and it's doing well, you actually don't know whether you should close it and take your profit or not. Yeah. So I found that understanding the difference between the two up front, it'll also definitely help you get the better results.
Yep. And then the next question that I have is, based on this spreadsheet, is these a combination of trades and investments all in one? Would that be right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So therefore, even though there's a combination, you have set your mind of, you know, whichever one, either it's a trade or an investment already up front from the moment you went in. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. Before you get in.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. So is a great point that Miguel has just made is decide up front. Whenever you get into a position, you find a good stock and some opportunity, never switch your mind, because some people, you know, the amateur investors, what they'll do is they buy in and say it's a trade, but when it starts going wrong, they start moving their stop loss the opposite direction. But then at the same time, they're also changing the trade because they don't want to crystallize the loss. They change the trade to become a so-called investment. So they don't feel bad. So they just let it drag along over time, and they end up losing more and more money. And so if it's a trade and you've got your rules as a trade, you basically either get stopped out or exit if it's a bad one. And if it's an investment, keep it as an investment and you hold that longer term to maximize its full value. Just don't ever switch between. So hopefully, So hopefully this sort of gives you an idea of, the type of returns that you can make as well, and the success rate that obviously over time. And this is not, don't get me wrong, these type of returns is not an overnight success. Miguel, can you just share with everyone what you shared with me when you started? When you started, what was your experience?
So when I the first time I started trading, I lost $30,000 within the first 4 months.
Yes.
And I had no idea what happened there. I just went in, I thought I'd actually just come away from a weekend where I did a 3-day weekend on how to trade the stock market. And I generally felt like I know what I'm doing. And right. I clearly didn't, and that was my entire account at the time. I only had $30,000 and I blew it all up. I've definitely, the roller coaster, the emotional roller coaster that comes associated with that is the biggest thing that you need to master, because regulating your emotions is what's going to either make you or it's going to break you. Do you know what I mean? So that was the biggest thing for me. I mean, I could have just given up at that point and said, well, I've lost that amount of money, I'm not going to lose anymore. But instead, I just thought, well, why did I lose that money? And I kind of just went into that, trying to identify what I was doing wrong. And it was very clear what I was doing wrong. I just didn't know what I was doing.
Okay. You're doing everything wrong, basically, under the sun.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like, these courses, they just, you go out, you train, they hype you up, they make you believe that they sell you this dream, Terry. And the reality is that once you get out in the real market, it's all hype. And the reality is that it's never going to work. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So,
yeah, I mean, it's kudos to you in the end. Even myself, had like yourself bad start as well, and it's kudos to you that you stuck by it, and basically looking for the answer, and also ultimately you found your answer. And that's why I want to tell you, share with everyone that's on the call that whether you've got a great, some of you have had great starts, and there's going to be times where you'll have losses here and there, and even a string of losses, but it should not distract you from the main goal and your main systems, because they all work, and it's just certain times that they don't work. Like especially now in past February, where there was supposed to be a correction, and in the past it's always been a sort of a V-shaped faster recovery, and so far there has been a recovery where we've been able to sell off some, but some of them have just taken longer, and it's just that patience that we all need. And it's not sort of the end of the world where no, it hasn't gone up and we're not making money, therefore this system doesn't work. It just takes time, and experience is going to show you that. And this is why, although this looks great, I want to share the realities of that. It wasn't an overnight thing where there was a lot of tuition of making mistakes along the way with McGill, and then finding the right courses over time. I think it was 4 or 5 courses now, and then finding blueprint, and then adding on top of the knowledge, and then exercising that knowledge over time, and just getting better and better. So for everyone, this is just if you're just starting, this is going to be your journey that you start, and you're going to get better over time as well, just like we all do with everything through practice. Yeah, so awesome. Now, thanks, McGill, for sharing. There's some questions. I'm going to quickly check what questions they've got based on this. So Philip, hopefully answer that. So McGill, in this is both investing and trading, both. CFDs, by the way, is just contracts for difference, and what that is just a leverage instrument over the stock itself. Usually leverage on average between 5 to 20 times. Please don't leverage too much. There are some brokers out there that will leverage you up to 50. What that means is if you've got $1, they'll give you $50. That's a bad idea, because if it drops by 2%, you've wiped out your, if you've basically invested the entire amount, and if the market goes down by 2%, you've wiped out your whole account. So please don't do that. John's asked, explain the leveraging. Leveraging John just means you're borrowing. So in other words, for example, you see how McGill here is made 2%. So by the time his return is 30%. So in other words, if I just look at this, it's roughly about a leverage of 15 times. So therefore, a dollar position that he's put on, because it's gone up by 2%, but times that by 15, it's gone to 30%. And if he's done minus 5%, times that by 20 plus some interest costs, it means that he's lost on that position 103% on that one tiny position though. So it's not the whole portfolio, it's just that one position. So it's just borrowing money, just like you do on a house, where the banks say you've got a 20% profit deposit, and now you're borrowing 80%. So now you're leveraging to buy your property. So same as stocks. The average hold time. Oh, this is a great question. Louise said, average hold time on the CFDs. McGill, can you answer that, please?
Yeah, so the average, look, it could range anywhere from about a week to about 2 to 3 weeks on the trading front. Okay. Because I'm trading with leverage and using CFDs, you want to get in and out as quickly as possible with the trades. So I try not to, usually they don't go over the month. Yeah. Sometimes they do, depending on the market. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so Sharon's also asked, what's the return based on if it's just on stock? So this, of course, this is a leveraged on top of the actual stock return. So if you were to deduct, in terms of the leverage side, it would be very hard just to divide that, for example, by 15 or 20, because the account that McGill has chosen is basically, it's going to be a CFD account. So he's based his rules, his position size 0.5%. Much smaller position size, to control the risk. So therefore, we can't just say because he's got leverage, therefore he's got 46. And if he didn't have leverage, he'll have basically, only a few percentage points. But then if he didn't have stocks, it would be very likely that he'll be increasing that position size much larger to get a high return as well. So very hard to just compare pure stock versus CFD. McGill, did you want to say something? Sorry.
No, that's correct. I was just confirming it.
Yeah. Anthony, Anthony, which broker? Anthony, you're going to be in terms of broker wise. Please wait. I know you're just on week 3. In next week, you'll be introduced to all basically the broker that not that I recommend, but the broker we use, and wholesale. So please leave on that. However, on the broker also does CFD, so you can actually use that, or you can actually use other CFDs brokers as well. There's plenty out there. Oh, question on guaranteed stop losses. Do you use that, Miguel?
No, I don't. I don't think that it's worth paying the extra fee. Yeah, if you keep your positions small and you diversify, that should be enough protection.
Yeah, totally agree, Philip. I was going to, Miguel said if you said yes, I would actually have a chat with him, because guaranteed stop losses are a ripoff. They will charge you no matter whether it gets hit or not. So therefore, they've already charged up front. So you're literally on the back foot straight away from the moment that you put it on. So people have this, thing about it's guaranteed, but yes, it is. But then you're paying for it anyway. And if you're doing a lot of investments and a lot of trades, you're going to find that cost is going to add up and balloon. So therefore, for example, if you was going to use a guaranteed stop loss on all the little the stops that he's been having, I can assure you that he will not be getting the 46% return. There seems to be a question on, what platform do you use for CFDs, Miguel? Is it IB, or do you use something else?
No, I use IG Markets, but yeah, look, it's definitely a CFD broker. So if you don't understand the leverage, then I, do the research first before you attempt to use them. Yeah.
IG would probably be one of the better ones out there, because that's the thing they do, and that's what they're specialized in. Because I've used IG in the past as well. Yep, and Louise has just got, are they end of the day entries or close? Yeah, Louise, all these positions, they're already closed off. Miguel has open positions, we're not putting on that, and I don't usually want to talk about our own positions as well and calculate the profit, because in actual fact, because they're not crystallized with a profit or loss, it's just basically, it's not real. So I always want to share, our members, when they're online, I always want to share what's been crystallized and what's been locked in. So that we know for a fact that these are returns or losses that's been locked in. So yeah, so awesome. Thanks, Miguel, for sharing your the actual results. Very kind of you.
No problem, mate.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to go back. Miguel, any particular lessons learned which stand out throughout? You've been doing it for a while now.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I think the first one was to regulate your emotions, because when I first started, I made a lot of my decisions based on emotion, and that's due to, and the other thing I was going to say is don't trust the media, because the media is the ones that are going to confuse you. And just like the sell-off we've seen in Feb, if you look at all the news articles, and if you look anywhere, everyone's talking about how the market's crashing and it's 2008 again, and it's been 10 years since the last market crash. And if you give into that, that's when you allow your emotions to make your decisions for you.
Yeah.
So I think that's the most important thing. Just, stick to the system, stick to the process, and don't worry about what's in the media. Don't let that influence your decision, because that's what's going to kill you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And where do you see your investing and trading in 2018 and beyond?
Well, like for me, Terry, I think my goal is now to just enjoy life. Like I've traveled quite a bit over the last 18 months or so. And, it's given me the confidence to live that lifestyle now, and I'm super excited about that, because that's something that for me was a dream 10 years ago. Do you know what I mean? So like even recently when I went to New York, and I experienced being in New York, because of the time difference, you can't actually trade as active as you can here in Australia.
Yeah.
So I wasn't as active. So on some days I missed buying or selling, and that's probably why I had a number of positions close out on me. But even throughout that, I was still able to generate an income while I was on holiday. So that for me was, it's the biggest thing. So it's been fantastic, and I can just see my future is just trading, and that's it, mate. I love the stock market, and I don't think I'll ever go to anything else.
Yeah. So how funny is that? How we live in, most of our members on the line at the moment, they're Australian. So, you think that we're down under, we're so far away. What makes us, why should we even trade the US market? We're so far away. It's the wrong hours, but in actual fact, it's a massive advantage, because the markets are closed. So we get to prepare our investments or trades in off market hours. So we're not affected by, the news, the media, and even movements of stock prices. And when you're actually in the United States, it's actually, and that's what I found too when I was there a year and a half ago with America and South America, where for 2 months I was literally stressing out because I was in there hours, so therefore I couldn't have my proper holiday and not miss out on trades. So it's an actually advantage that we live down under, and we're able to complete our investments and trades early in the morning, and therefore have the full day to ourselves. Would you agree?
Correct.
Yeah,
absolutely. I love that. And prior to doing Blueprint, I used to trade the open, and then when you talk about the close, I was like, hang on, and I tested it, and you get far better results at the close. And plus, you get to do it early in the morning and have the whole day free. So I thought, wow, this is brilliant.
Yeah. And for those who, Miguel, you included, if you haven't seen this Facebook, I had a link which was from the Wall Street Journal, and they were talking about the close and why it's actually that's the most liquid time where all the institutions are coming in to put their auctions through and their final orders before the close of the day. So please, if you haven't seen that, please go into our Facebook group and check that out, because it's a great article which explains why we've been trading the close now, because it's an advantage to us, but also the liquidity that we have to play around with during those times. So Miguel, last thing, what's been I guess one to three takeaway actions that you can share with our inner circle group that's been vital to your success?
Definitely the protecting capital side of things. So someone asked before about guaranteed stop losses, and I think if you stick to the rules that you've laid out to everyone, like position sizing, diversification, and doing only investing in strong fundamental stocks, I think that protection in itself is enough to keep you safe. But don't move away from that. Stick to those rules. I think that was the biggest thing for me. Understanding the difference between investment and trades was another one, because I had no idea. Sometimes you've got a position open and it's done really well, and you think, okay, I should close it. But if you don't know if it's an investment or trade, that's when you start to get confused. So that was the second thing. And then the third thing was keeping an eye on the VIX, which has really helped me because I'm more active. Definitely keeping an eye on the VIX on a daily basis has been one of the big reasons why I've had such good results.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Yeah, just to repeat, everyone, if you missed it. So the first one that Miguel talked about was protection. So the position size, having stop losses if you're trading. So that's ultimately protecting your capital. Don't focus on the profits. And the second one is the following the rules. So we've got rules, stick to them. Don't try your own thing. I mean, if you've got experience and that works, add them in. But if they either haven't worked in the past, or that you find another shiny object, don't just go to that new platform and try to integrate our rules with their rules, because it may not end up costing you and may not work anyway. And thirdly, the investing and trading, making sure that when the difference is, if you decide upfront, is the opportunity or the investment you find an investment, or is it a trade? Don't switch once you're in it. Just stick to it. And also finally, of course, the big picture of looking at the VIX, possibly daily if you can, and just knowing where the risk, where the market is before you even go into the stock itself. So big picture first before you go into the little picture. So that's the three vital actions that Miguel has been using to succeed to this day. So finally, Miguel, would you recommend others join? I mean, we're all members here, but would you recommend others join Blueprint and continue their inner circle journey?
Yeah, absolutely, Terry. You know me. I've been telling everyone about you. So
I know. Thank you for that.
It's look, like I said, I've done, it was 4 or 5 other courses prior to this, and I really felt like none of them really cared about your success. You know what I mean? Whereas with Blueprint, Terry, I know you're passionate about actually empowering people to learn and go fish for themselves, which is something that I haven't seen in the market anywhere else. So definitely highly recommended. And if you just started, or if you're halfway through, continue the process, continue listening to the weekly updates that you do, because that really helps you read the market and understand the market. So don't give up, because you don't know how close you are to having that success that you want.
Yeah, awesome. No, thank you, Miguel. Any final words you've got with the group, Miguel?
Just want to say that it's an amazing group, Terry. I think the people that have come through your training really, I think like on the Facebook group, everyone's interacts and everyone helps each other out, and I think that's fantastic in itself as well. So definitely a great group of people to be trading with and learning from. So
yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, no, thank you for your kind words. Yeah, I think somehow it's just through natural organic growth and organic self-selection for some reason that we're attracting the right people, the right crowd. Not the people that ain't into the get rich quick, they somehow don't find us exciting at all because we just don't make consistent returns. We don't do the double your money every single year, so therefore they don't even come in anyway. And until they get burnt, they learn the thing, and then they might come down, years down the track maybe. So we are attracting the right crowd and people that are basically helping each other. So it's been a wonderful journey even for myself as well.
Yeah, definitely, Terry. It's been amazing.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Miguel, for that, and thank you for your time, because I think a lot of people have gotten amazing insights just from really in the end hearing from now a full-time trader. So it's awesome. Thanks, Miguel.
Thank you, Terry. Talk to you soon.
Okay.